The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, has been dealt another unexpected blow as Togo, a key West African nation, signals its intention to break ranks and join the Alliance of Sahel States, also known as the AES. This move comes in the wake of the dramatic exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who accused ECOWAS of serving Western interests rather than prioritizing African sovereignty. Togo, a coastal nation and long-standing ECOWAS member, is now seriously considering aligning itself with the AES, a decision that could reshape the balance of power in the region. Togolese Foreign Minister Robert Dussey has publicly confirmed the country's intention to join the AES, a bloc formed after the three Sahelian states broke away from ECOWAS. Dussey stated on social media that Togo's potential membership could significantly bolster the alliance, granting landlocked Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger access to maritime trade routes and economic game-changer. This move also signals a growing shift among African nations seeking greater self-determination, free from external influence. Togo's potential defection from ECOWAS raises pressing questions. Why is Togo seeking to align with the AES? Will the AES accept its membership? What does this mean for the future of West African integration? These questions underscore the shifting political landscape in the region. ECOWAS, once heralded as a beacon of regional unity and economic integration, is crumbling under the weight of its contradictions. The exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, three foundational members, on January 29, 2025, exposed the fragility of an organization accused of bending to Western interests at the expense of African sovereignty. This seismic shift, dubbed Sahexit by some, has not only weakened ECOWAS, but also ignited a broader conversation about the future of regional cooperation in Africa. Now, Togo, a coastal nation still tethered to ECOWAS, is contemplating a bold move, joining the AES, the new bloc formed by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. This moment is seen by many as a clarion call, a rejection of neo-colonial shackles and a reclamation of African agency. The departure of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from ECOWAS was not a mere tantrum by military leaders, it was a calculated act of defiance against an organization they accused of being a puppet of Western powers, particularly France and its allies. The formation of the AES in September 2023, followed by their formal withdrawal from ECOWAS in 2025, laid bare the fault lines within the bloc. ECOWAS, founded in 1975, was envisioned as a vehicle for economic integration and political stability, a Pan-African dream of collective prosperity, free from the meddling hands of former colonial powers. For decades, it stood as a symbol of West African resilience, weathering coups, civil wars, and economic upheavals. Yet beneath its glossy veneer of unity lay a troubling reality. ECOWAS had become a tool for perpetuating Western dominance. The bloc's response to the military coups in Mali, 2020, Burkina Faso, 2022, and Niger, 2023, exposed its allegiance to external powers. Swift sanctions, threats of military intervention, and a refusal to engage in meaningful dialogue with the juntas revealed an organization more concerned with pleasing Paris and Washington than addressing the root causes of instability, terrorism, poverty, and governance failures. The Sahel Trio's grievances were clear in their joint statement announcing their exit. They lamented that ECOWAS had drifted from the ideals of its founding fathers and the spirit of Pan-Africanism. They accused the bloc of failing to support their existential fight against terrorism and insecurity, a charge that resonates deeply in a region ravaged by jihadist insurgencies. For years, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have borne the brunt of violence spilling across the Sahel, with ECOWAS offering little more than platitudes and sanctions. The bloc's heavy-handed approach, suspending their membership and imposing economic strangulation, only deepened their resolve to break free. After 49 years, the juntas declared, "The valiant peoples of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger regretfully and with great disappointment observe that the organization has lost its way. This betrayal of purpose has eroded ECOWAS's legitimacy. Once a 15-member stronghold, it now clings to 12 nations, its influence diminished by the loss of 76 million people and over half its geographical territory. ECOWAS's economic framework, built on the free movement of goods and people, is unraveling as trade routes falter and coastal states brace for the fallout. Port cities like Cotonou in Benin and Lomé in Togo, once vital lifelines for landlocked Sahel nations, face uncertainty as the AES seeks alternative pathways to the sea. ECOWAS's transitional arrangements, preserving visa-free movement and trade privileges for the departing states, smack of desperation, a belated attempt to salvage relevance in a region slipping from its grasp. In contrast, the Alliance of Sahel States emerges as a bold experiment in African self-determination. Forged in the crucible of shared struggle, the AES unites Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger under a mutual defense pact aimed at combating terrorism and reducing reliance on foreign powers. Since its inception, the alliance has moved swiftly to assert its independence, announcing a 5,000-strong joint military force, issuing AES passports, and exploring a confederation model that prioritizes security over economic integration. This shift reflects a broader Pan-African awakening, a rejection of the West divide and conquer tactics in favor of solidarity among nations facing common threats. The AES's appeal lies in its unapologetic stance against neocolonialism. The juntas have pivoted toward Russia, welcoming mercenaries and weapons to bolster their fight against jihadists, a move that has irked Western capitals but resonated with citizens tired of French troops and unfulfilled promises. Leaders like Burkina Faso's Captain Ibrahim Traoré have framed their actions as a struggle for sovereignty, a bid to reclaim control over their resources and destiny. This narrative strikes a chord across the continent, where the ghosts of colonialism still haunt economic and political structures. The AES is not without flaws. Its reliance on Russia raises questions about trading one foreign influence for another. But it represents a rupture with the status quo, a refusal to bow to an ECOWAS beholden to external agendas. Into this fray steps Togo, a small but strategically vital nation now weighing its options. Foreign Minister Robert Ducey's remarks in early 2025 have sent ripples through West Africa. Togo is considering joining the AES, he told VOA Africa, a strategic decision that could reshape regional cooperation and provide access to the sea for member countries. For a country long embedded in ECOWAS, this pivot signals both disillusion with the bloc and a pragmatic calculation of its interests. Togo's potential defection could further weaken ECOWAS, stripping it of a key coastal ally and amplifying the AES's reach. Why is Togo drawn to the AES? The answer lies in a confluence of ideology, geography, and necessity. First, there is a growing Pan-African sentiment within Togo mirrored across the region. Ducey has decried the lack of true sovereignty in Africa, lamenting that the continent is used to serve the great powers. This echoes the AES's critique of ECOWAS as a Western proxy, a sentiment that resonates with Togolese citizens who see the junta's defiance as a model for reclaiming agency. Geographically, Togo offers the AES something it desperately needs: access to the sea. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are landlocked, their economies historically dependent on coastal neighbors for trade. Before their exit, 80% of Niger's freight passed through Benin's port of Cotonou, while Togo's Lomé port served as a crucial gateway for Burkina Faso. Sanctions and border tensions with ECOWAS states like Benin have disrupted these routes, pushing the AES to seek new partnerships. Togo's inclusion would provide a direct maritime lifeline, reducing the alliance's vulnerability and enhancing its economic viability. Moreover, Togo's quiet sympathy for the AES reflects a pragmatic foreign policy. Unlike ECOWAS's confrontational stance, Togo has maintained cordial ties with the Sahel juntas, positioning itself as a bridge between factions. This neutrality has earned it goodwill, making it a natural partner for an alliance seeking to consolidate its footing. Joining the AES could also bolster Togo's security, as the spillover of Sahel instability jihadist attacks have already struck its northern border, demands a coordinated response. Unlike ECOWAS's confrontational stance, Togo has maintained cordial ties with the Sahel juntas, positioning itself as a bridge between factions. This neutrality has earned it goodwill, making it a natural partner for an alliance seeking to consolidate its footing. Joining the AES could also bolster Togo's security, as the spillover of Sahel instability jihadist attacks have already struck its northern border, demands a coordinated response. Togo's flirtation with the AES underscores ECOWAS's deepening crisis. The bloc's inability to adapt to the Sahel's unique challenges, terrorism, economic marginalization, and governance failures, has alienated its members. Its reliance on sanctions rather than dialogue has backfired, driving nations into the arms of rival alliances. The loss of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger has already cost ECOWAS its moral authority. Losing Togo could be the death knell for its economic cohesion. Coastal states like Ghana and Nigeria, once the bloc's anchors, now face a fractured region where trade and security cooperation hang in the balance. ECOWAS's woes are compounded by its perceived subservience to the West, the bloc's alignment with France evident in its support for the CFA franc, and its tepid response to French military presence has fueled accusations of neo-colonialism. The AES's rejection of the CFA franc and its push for independent institutions strike at the heart of this critique, offering a blueprint that Togo may find tempting. The bloc's alignment with France evident in its support for the CFA franc and its tepid response to French military presence has fueled accusations of neocolonialism. The AES's rejection of the CFA franc and its push for independent institutions strike at the heart of this critique, offering a blueprint that Togo may find tempting. As ECOWAS flounders, its doors-open policy allowing the Sahel states a 6-month grace period to return rings hollow. The juntas have doubled down on their exit, issuing AES passports and planning a joint force, signaling an irreversible break. Togo's potential move to the AES is more than a regional realignment. It is a litmus test for Pan-Africanism in the 21st century. The AES, for all its nascent imperfections, embodies a vision of unity grounded in African solutions to African problems. It challenges the top-down model of integration championed by ECOWAS, favoring a bottom-up approach that prioritizes security and sovereignty over economic dogma. The AES, for all its nascent imperfections, embodies a vision of unity grounded in African solutions to African problems. It challenges the top-down model of integration championed by ECOWAS, favoring a bottom-up approach that prioritizes security and sovereignty over economic dogma. Togo's inclusion could tip the scales, transforming the AES from a Sahel-centric pact into a broader coalition capable of rivaling ECOWAS's influence, yet risks abound. The AES's reliance on Russia and its untested institutions raise doubts about its sustainability. Togo, with its stable economy and maritime assets, would bring strengths but also vulnerabilities. Could it withstand the diplomatic backlash from ECOWAS in the West? For Pan-Africanists, the answer lies in faith in African resilience, in the ingenuity of its people, and in the power of solidarity to overcome external pressures. As Kwame Nkrumah once said, Africa must unite or perish. The AES, with Togo in its orbit, could be a step toward that unity, a defiant stand against a world order that has too long dictated Africa's fate. In the end, ECOWAS's weakening is not a tragedy, but an opportunity. It forces us to confront the failures of borrowed frameworks and to imagine a future where African nations chart their own course. Togo's decision, whatever it may be, will echo beyond West Africa, a reminder that the continent's destiny lies in the hands of its people, not in the corridors of Paris or Washington, but in the streets of Ouagadougou, Bamako, Niamey, and Lomé. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.